Hello, everybody. Welcome to Lunch with Linda. I am Linda Daniels, and you are now inside Northampton Wools. Welcome. What a week we had. It was one of the most amazingly busy weeks we've had in a really long time, starting with Gudrun Johnston's visit here on Thursday night. If you missed it, you missed an absolutely charming time with an absolutely delightful person. Gudrun will be here again. And in case you didn't see, Kate, you want to scroll around and show? We have the Simply Shetland Spindrift in stock in lots of different colors. And we still have about 7 copies of Gudrun's book left in stock as well. And we just saw a post by Gudrun that she's out in Santa Fe, and she's just released a brand new pattern for Fair Isle fingerless mitts in those southwestern kind of Santa Fe colors. I'm not sure because we haven't had a chance to check yet. I'm not sure if we have all the exact same colors that she used, but we certainly have stuff that colors that you could use instead. So first thing when this is over, I am going to buy that pattern on Ravelry. She's got a code for 20% off the pattern right now, and get to work on making those mitts.
Ert mitts.
What are they called?
Ert. A-E-R-T.
Ert mitts. Look for that pattern. She is going to be teaching a class here. She's just looking at her schedule and going to be sending me the dates and times that work for her. And it will be a basic Fair Isle tasting class. You should know how to knit, and you should have some experience of knitting with color. And it will really be about playing with color. You'll be given a set of colors and you will experiment with one color on another and seeing how it changes as you work your way through a selection of 6 or more colors. So that's coming up in January. The other thing that's coming up in January, and I shouldn't really be talking about January, but I am. The other thing that's coming up in January is on the very last Saturday of January, we are having a visit from the new rep from Earth Yarns. She's direct from Turkey, and she'll be showing us a lot of models and that use the unique self-striping yarns and all of the other yarns that they do as well. So you'll be hearing a lot more about that later on. In the meantime, how is your Christmas knitting coming? Are you done? Are they wrapped? Tomorrow's my day off, and that's what I'm going to be spending the day wrapping and packing presents to go out to California. I wanted to say that our hours this week are Wednesday through Saturday from 10 to 5. We are open on Sunday from 1 to 5, and Monday, which is the 23rd, Monday the 23rd, we will be open from 10 to 5 as well on that day. We posted our hours on the website, and we've sent them out on Facebook and Instagram. You can always call the shop, but hopefully, and we will also be open on the 24th. I forgot to say that. We'll be open on the 24th from 10 to 3, and then we'll be closed for the rest of Christmas Eve and on Christmas Day. We'll be open for that. It's Thursday 26. After Christmas through Saturday. Our regular hours 10 to 5, but then we'll be closed for 4 days. And then I'll be back in the shop on January 2nd, and we'll be in full swing, ready to greet 2025 with hopefully lots and lots of knitting. We got a bunch of fun things in this week, and this is an order that I was really looking forward to. If you are familiar with the Katrinkles company, I placed an order with them, and it takes a while for shipment to come because they brand most of the things that we have. One of the first things that I wanted to show you were the holiday earrings. I've worn these. I didn't wear them today, but I've had them on for the last couple of days, and they're like a holographic. Is it changing color?
Yeah, it looks so cool.
It changes color and is really beautiful on. And It is a little needle gauge. Those holes on top of the stars are actually needle sizing. Now, the one thing that I don't recommend is that you try to use them when they're on, because you'll be poking your head with a needle. But you can take them off and use them. But they're also just a really statement that you are a knitter and you know what all this kind of secret code means. Really, really pretty. It's only this one color because it changes so many different colors, but I'll probably wear them every single day the rest of this week because they're so fun and so pretty. Katrinkles also does one of the funniest little things, the tags for inside your sweaters, which show a sheep butt and say, this is the back. Now, come on, how many of you have not been able to tell which is the front and which is the back of your sweater, especially a lot of these top-down sweaters, even if they have short rows so that the back neck is higher than the front, it's sometimes hard to tell. So this is a great little, these aren't real leather, they are fake leather, and they can be washed and dried flat. It says they can go in the washer and the dryer, but they might last longer if they're hand washed and dried flat. But we just get such a kick out of these. This is the back. You can sew it right in. They're tiny little holes punched. Just sew them on with needle and thread. So we got a good supply of those in. And then we got these really cute little markers that will also help you with your knitting. Let's see if I can get them turned so you can see. But they are a wooden marker that's cut in half. One says right side and one says wrong side. So if you are having a hard time telling the difference, if you're doing garter stitch, for example, but you need to know which is the right side and which is the wrong side, you can put this little light bulb marker on the right side and on the wrong side and know all the time which is which. We've run across that problem often. We also we've had customers that have been asking for these, and they have our logo on them. That's what takes a little bit of time. But this is a sock sizer. So if you are a sock knitter, you can put the person's foot or your foot right on that and see exactly how long to knit the sock from the heel. So you've already turned the heel or the toe. The shape is like this, so you can stick this right into your circular or double pointed knitting and know exactly how far you have to go. So this is a great tool when you're trying to figure out just how long to make the socks. And what's really fun is that it has European sizes on this side and American sizes on that side. So this is a great, great thing. Very, very useful if you make socks for people and want to know how long should a size 6 shoe be.
I love that it says socks rule.
They do.
They do. I'm wearing my hand at socks.
And lastly, we got 2 things that I think every single person should have. And they are these little cheater cards, I guess you could call them. They're wooden. Again, we had them engraved with our logo, but one gives you step-by-step directions for the Kitchener stitch, all written out right there. And the other one, you know everybody needs this, is for make one right and make one left. So when you're out there on your own and your directions tell you to make one left and then make one right, and you can't remember, if you attach this to your knitting bag or inside your knitting bag, they sometimes have those little loops, or get them both and put them on a keychain that you just stuff in your knitting bag, you will never ever have to cry over a mismatched Kitchener stitch or a make one going in the wrong direction. So Katrinkles is constantly coming up with lots and lots and lots of helpful little gadgets. And if you're a gadget girl, these are definitely for you. Yeah. Perfect stocking stuffers, any of these things. Really, really fun. I feel like we got a whole bunch of other stuff in, but we really didn't. It was all of that stuff in that package. We are getting a needle order in almost every single week now. And even now, we just got an order in last week and already we're out of some things. So I'm trying to keep that inventory up to par so that you can always find what you need here in the shop. But we just got a package in this morning that I need to unpack. So if we don't have it today, we'll probably have it by the end of the week because they do come pretty quickly for your last minute needle needs, or you think you have it and then you can't find it, or it's busy on some other project. We also still have lots of the little sheep ornaments that I made. They're scattered throughout the store if you want to get something really fun for somebody in your life. There's lots of different colors with different fabrics. So these are hanging on the tree in the window, and they're the tree that's up on the shelf as
really
well.
one of a kind with
They
the
are,
fabric
each one is a little bit different.
It's from the Kerry Woolen.
It's from the Kerry Woolen Mills in Ireland, the fabric is, and then I knit the legs and the tail and the hat and put it all together. All right, now I want to let you in on a little secret that you might not have known about me. I love chocolate. That's probably no big deal. But the next most thing I love is peppermint. And we bought candy canes, and I was like, Kate, look, I can knit with candy canes. And so that's what I was doing this morning, is knitting with candy canes. And it actually started to turn into something. I'm thinking, oh, I don't know if I should keep going and maybe make it a headband.
Yeah.
Or something like that. But just so fun. Peppermint and chocolate. And the two together, I've already been working on this one. Are heaven.
Wait, no, that's pointy enough, but it's too sticky.
No, you can't knit with it unwrapped. You'll be sorry if you do. All right. One last thing, and I won't keep you. The title of today is How to Turn Disaster into Delightful. And we had a lovely customer who spent a long time knitting a sweater, and when she was done, she thought it was just a little bit too big. She put it in the washing machine and felted the whole thing. This is after we turned it into Delightful, but I wanted you to see the remains, because this sweater that started out as something a little bit big really shrank, and shrank beautifully. I mean, turned into some really nice felt. But of course she felt really, really bad, and it was a really pretty sweater. There are a lot of things. All you have to do is Google what to do with felted sweaters, and you will come up with all kinds of free patterns and project ideas, from cutting them into different shapes and using them as coasters, as little purses. But what I did was turned it into mittens. This also is a free pattern, and you will find a lot of free patterns for mittens that just say trace your hand with the thumb actually a part of the whole piece. Those aren't quite as comfortable. They work, but they're not quite as comfortable to wear because the thumb is sticking out from the hand like that, and you have to move the whole fabric. These mittens are, the pattern is in 3 pieces. You have the back of the hand, and then you have the bottom thumb piece and the top thumb piece.
Oh, yeah,
This piece is actually open like that. And you sew those 2 pieces together, and then you sew it to the back of the hand. So I turned that disaster into a delightful set of mittens, and I had enough fabric to make a little flower because they were kind of plain, just like this. So I cut out a little flower and sewed a little snowflake button into the middle, into the middle of it, to make them really fun and decorative. We have a question?
There's a question. If you put something knit into the washing machine, do they automatically become a felted item?
Good question. And the truth is, no, they don't. It will only become a felted item if it's made with natural fiber, either wool, alpaca, or mohair. Those are the three main fibers that are going to felt. And the degree to felting, how much they shrink, depends on the temperature of the water and the looseness of the knit. In order to shrink, the stitches need space. So you actually need to knit on a bigger needle. So you would knit worsted weight yarn on maybe a size 10 needle so that there's room between the stitches, so that they actually have a space to close up. So if you knit something very tightly and put it in the washing machine, it's not going to shrink as much as if there was room for it to shrink, number one. So fiber content, how loosely is it knit, and then the temperature of the water is also going to play a factor. If you have very hot water, it's going to shrink a lot. The hot water and the agitation in the machine all contribute to the felting cycle. Front loaders can felt, but they are not as controllable as a top loader. Most of you, if you have a top loader, know that at some point you can open the machine up in the middle of a cycle and check what's going on. I felted slippers recently, and I had to actually run them through my top loader 3 times before they actually began to really shrink to where I wanted them to be. And it was, first I put them in with other clothing, and they just didn't get enough agitation, and they were inside a pillowcase. The second time I did it, they were still inside a pillowcase, but I didn't have as much other stuff in there with them. And the third time I did it, I actually put them in by themselves, and that's when they really turned into the felt that I want. It's not an exact science. You cannot know exactly what you're going to get, which is why whenever you see directions for felting, it tells you to start at 5 or 10 minutes and then check it and see if you need more felting or a continuation of the process, because there's no guarantee. Some wools will felt more quickly than others, depending on how they've been cleaned, what kind are scoured in the making of the yarn process, what chemicals or soap has been used. Also the ply. If it's a single ply, it tends to felt more quickly than something that is applied yarn, something that has strands, multiple strands twisted together. So all of that plays a part in how quickly and how dramatically it felts. If you put it in the washing machine and it doesn't felt, that usually means that there's some sort of blend. There might be some kind of acrylic mixed into the wool. And no matter how many times you wash it like that, it's not going to felt. The other thing is, it cannot be a superwash wool. Superwash wool is made so that it doesn't shrink. In fact, the opposite happens. If you've ever washed a superwash wool sweater, you know that you have to be very, very careful, even in the machine, because as soon as you lift it up, it grows. It just is so limp and has absolutely no body. That's why superwash can go directly from the washing machine to the dryer, and the dryer is what helps return it to its original shape. So if you make a sweater that's too big and you know that it is a material that will shrink, be very, very slow and careful about that process. I would recommend usually starting by spritzing the sweater and putting it in the dryer first. That will help begin the process, and that you can control. You can set that dryer for 10 minutes at a time and really keep an eye on what's happening. So don't be afraid to wash. I mean, I wash all of my sweaters in the machine on cold and gentle. But if I am at all nervous about it, I will wash it in the machine by filling the machine with water and then just putting it on letting the piece soak and then putting it on a spin, not actually letting it go through the process.
Wow, lots of
Does that help?
details. It's great details.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but you're not always in charge of the laundry. And
No.
if you leave control to somebody else, you might end up with something
That's
like
happened
this.
to me.
Yeah.
Happened to me with the cashmere cowl.
Oh, cashmere. I'm surprised because cashmere tends to be slow
It was that
to
swishy
felt.
cashmere. It didn't get so small. I can still wear it, but it's just a little like stuck together.
Or it'll be a little stiffer than,
It's stiffer.
it's not quite as pliable as the fabric first started out. So if disaster does strike and you do felt something, don't throw it away. There's lots of other things that you can do so you can still have the memory of the piece that you knit and still carry it with you. But I'm really happy with how these mittens turned out. All right, you guys, that's it. Oh no, wait, my story.
Yeah, story time.
I forgot, almost forgot about my story.
Beth says that Mrs. Claus probably knits with candy canes.
Oh, that's so cute. I bet you're right.
Her?
So Saturday, we had an incredibly busy day. And there was a customer who was trying to put together a beginning knit kit for either his wife or daughter. I wasn't helping him, but I was kind of hearing what was going on. And because Georgia was paying a lot of attention to him and really helping him put something together, there were customers who were waiting to cash out. So I got up to move around to help the next person in line, and she had a bunch of little things that she was purchasing as well. And I rang them all up, and as I am bagging them for her, I hear the gentleman say to Georgia, "Oh yeah, and I did want to get those scissors." And that customer that I had just rung up took the scissors that she had bought and said, "I heard you before and I wanted to give you the sweater, the scissors for your little project bag." He was so touched and so thankful to her. And I was so touched to see that happen here in the store. She had purposely taken the scissors with the whole idea that she was going to pay for them and gift them to him so that he could have a full project bag to give. And it was really, really a sweet, sweet thing to have happen in the store.
Bought the scissors as a knitter.
She's a knitter,
And they
exactly.
knew that a new knitter needs
She
good
wanted to help a
scissors.
new knitter and have a complete and total project bag. So good things happen out there all the time. And I'm so glad to see it happen here in the shop, and I wanted to share that with you. So in the meantime, I know that clock is ticking. This is when you finish up those Christmas gifts and you start to think about what can you knit for your own personal enjoyment or your own personal wardrobe. So I hope you find time this week to go and knit something. Bye.